Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi shir.
Shalom Bracha and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Brachos Daf Samach Aleph. We're on top of the Amid. Says the Gemara, V'Amar Rav Huna Marav Mishum Rav Meir L'Olam. Always, you dvarav shel adam mu'atin lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person should minimize his expression in a moment, in a difficult moment. He should be careful with his words. Make sure that your words are few to Hashem. Don't take the chance of perhaps expressing yourself inappropriately to Hashem. Shenemar, as it says, Al tevalas picha, don't haste your mouth. V'lipcha al yimayr, and your heart should not rush. L'hoitzi davar l'fnei Elokim, to express your word to Hashem. Why? Ki Elokim b'shamayim, Hashem is up in heaven. V'ata la'oretz, you're only here down on earth. And our vision is very limited. Our perspective is very narrow. Hashem is up in heaven. He has a bird's eye view on the situation. He takes in the present together with in the context of the past, of the future. Only Hashem knows where the current situation is leading. Therefore, be careful in the way you express yourself to Hashem. Al kein yu dvarecha ma'atim. Make sure your words are few. Hashem has the present in a much larger context of the whole past and the whole future. Only Hashem really knows what's truly good for the person. The Mesilas Yesharim has a beautiful mashal about this. He describes the person who's peeping through a small keyhole in the door, and he sees this frightening sight of a man holding a knife and cutting through the flesh of a person, and he's horrified, he's gripped with terror until he opens the door, and he meets a doctor who is performing a life-saving operation on his patient, and now he appreciates what's being done. Only when you see the full picture, the broader perspective, can one really appreciate the true meaning of the situation. And only Hashem really has the true broad perspective. Al kein yu dvarecha ma'atim. Only Hashem knows what's really good for us. Continues the Gemara, Darash Rav Nachman Rav Chizda, Mai dichsiv. How are you going to explain the following pasuk? Vayitzer Hashem Elokim es Adam. Hashem created, Hashem fashioned Adam Arishon. And the word Vayitzer is unusual. It has two yuds, b'shnei yudin. What is the semblance here? Says the Gemara, Shnei Yitzarim bara HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem created two inclinations in Adam Arishon. Echad Yetzer Toiv ve'echad Yetzer Ra. Both the good inclination and the evil inclination. And that is the meaning of Vayitzer with two yuds. It relates to both Yitzarim. It is like a plural lashon. Maskal of Nachmar Yitzchak. Ela me'ata, if so, behema. The loiksiba Vayitzer, by behema it doesn't say Vayitzer with two yuds, it only has one yud. If so, you're going to say Leisla Yitzra. A behema doesn't have a evil inclination. It's always calm, serene, and compliant. V'ka chazina, we do see the maska, it harms. V'nashcher, it bites. Ubata, and it kicks. So apparently it does have a evil inclination. Ella says, rather, we're going to darshan, we're going to explain the Vayitzer that contains two yuds in a different manner. Ella kadev Shimon Pazi. The Amar Shimon Pazi, Oili mi yitzri, woe from my maker, v'oili mi yitzri, and woe from my yetzer hara. A person is constantly in this middle of this tug of war between his desire to follow Hashem's word, to be close to Hashem, and on the other hand, the yetzer hara is pulling him in the opposite direction, is trying to distract him and to divert his attention from doing what's right. So a person is always in this pitched battle, and he says, "Oi, woe to me, mi yitzri, from Hashem. How am I going to explain my actions before Hashem?" V'oili mi yitzri. At the same time, he has to deal with the yetzer hara who's pitching this battle against him. So that is the meaning of Vayitzer with two yuds. It's like saying Vai, woe, twice, Vai once. How am I going to explain myself to Hashem? And Vai, the second time, is how I'm going to deal with this Yetzer Hara who's nagging me. So that's Vayitzer. Vav Yud is like Vai, woe, and there's two Yuds, which has a remez of 2 times Vai, Oili mi Yitzri, Oili mi Yitzri. Inami, have another explanation. Because Yirmiyah ben Elazar, the Omar of Yirmiyah ben Elazar. What is the meaning of Vayitzer? A double creation, du partzufin, a dual figure. Bara Kodesh Baruch Hu Adam Rishon. Hashem created du partzufin, 2 figures. Adam Rishon was a combination of a double figure, 2 faces, one of a male, one of a female. Shenemar Achar v'kedem tzartani. Hashem, you've created me. Achar from behind, v'kedem from the front. Tzartani. You've made double tzurais in me. Adam Rishon was a combined Adam and Chava. And that is the meaning of Vayitzer. It was a double tzura, a double form, a double face. One of the Farshim explains why did Hashem indeed create Adam Rishon in this manner, that he's facing in 2 directions, because that is the human being, that is the condition of the person in this world. On the one hand, he's connected with materialism, with Olam Hazeh. He's facing this world. On the other hand, he has a part of him that is facing upward to spirituality. His neshama is anticipating the life of eternity in Gan Eden. So he's facing 2 directions at once. He's facing Olam Hazeh, and also with his neshama, he's facing Olam Haba. Achar v'kedem tzartani. Continues the Gemara, Vayiven Hashem Elokim asat tzela. Hashem built up and fashioned the tzela, the side of Adam Rishon, and fashioned with it his wife Chava. Says the Gemara, what is the meaning of hatzela? Rav Shmuel, this is machlokes in Rav Shmuel. Chad Omer partzuf. Tzela is this partzuf, is this face, figure, so to speak. Adam Rishon had 2 faces, and Hashem he sliced them in half, split them in half, and divided them into 2. And by doing so, he fashioned Chava from the side of Adam Rishon. He fashioned her into Chava. V'chad Amar Zonav. Adam Rishon had a tail, and that is the tzela that the pasuk is speaking about. He took this tail and fashioned with it his wife Chava. It says partzuf. It's all well and understood according to the Shita that Vayiven Esatzela was this partzuf, was this other side of Adam Rishon, because he was a dual form. He was a combination of the Adam and Chava. If so, we understand Hainu Dechsiv Achar v'kedem tzartani, as we explained above, that the pasuk is telling you that Hashem created Adam Rishon as a combined Adam and Chava. From behind and from up front, there were 2 different forms. Elalaman de Omar Zanaf. But according to the explanation that Vayiven Hashem Elokim es Atzela was merely he took his tail and from that he formed Chava. If so, what is the pshat? My Achar v'kedem tzartani. What does it mean, Hashem, you created me from behind and from the front with a tzura? How are we going to explain that pasuk? Adam Rishon was merely 1 face, was 1 figure. He had a tail. From that tail, Hashem created Chava. So how do we explain the pasuk of Achar v'kedem tzartani? Says we have a different meaning to that. Kedar of Ami, the Amar of Ami, Achar l'maaseh bereishis v'kedem l'puranos. Achar v'kedem tzartani means that Hashem created Adam Rishon, the last one. He was the last to be created in the Maaseh Bereshis. Hashem prepared everything for him first. It was like a meal prepared for the guest to arrive at the end. He was only at the end. That is Achar v'kedem tzartani. At the end of creation, you've created me. V'kedem. Kedem means v'kedem l'puranos, the first one to incur retribution. Puranos, tragedy. As the Gemara will explain. We understand what that means. Adam Rishon was only created on Erev Shabbos, so he was the last one to be created. Ela v'kedem l'puranos. What does that mean? He was the first one to suffer puranos. Puranos demai. Which puranos? Which retribution are we speaking about? Ilaim puranos the nachash, the puranos, the einish that came as a result of the snake, the nachash, convincing Chava to take from the Eitz Hadas, and eventually it was fed to Adam as well, and everybody suffered an einish. We're speaking about that incident, but that didn't happen in this manner. First, the Nachash received his einish. Vatanya, Rabbi Omer, B'gdula maschil ma'agadol. In matters of gdula, of honor, we always begin with the more prominent member of the group. Ubiklala regarding curse, maschil min hakatan, that is applied to the lower member of the group first, as he explains. Bagdula maschil min hagadol, we find this in the following case. T'chsiv vaydaber Moshe el Aaron vel Elazar vel Isamar banav hanisarim chu. So he instructed them regarding the avodah in the Mishkan. So first Moshe turned to the most prominent member of the group, first to Aaron, then to Elazar, and Isamar's children. So bigdula maschilin min hagadol. Biklala, in matters of klala, of course, maschilin min hakatan, we begin from the least prominent member. How do we find that? Beschila niskala nachash. First we find that the nachash received his klala from Hashem. The next step, Ulubasoi, niskala Chava. Then came Chava, Ulubasoi, finally, niskal Adam, the final one on the list was Adam. So it was actually the nachash, who was the least prominent member of the group, that received his klala first. So that's inconsistent with what we said before, that Adam Arishan was Kedem L'Puranas, was the first one, the human being is the first one to suffer a Puranas retribution. So it can't be that we were referring to the Klala and the Puranas, which resulted from the Chait of the Eitz Hadas. Ella, it must be, we're speaking about a different incident. Puranas, the Mabel, we're speaking about the Puranas that came about during the Mabel. D'chsiv vayimach es kol hayikum, Hashem erased all the whole civilization, ashal pnei adama, me adam v'ad behema. So the pasuk clearly works with this sequence. First, Bereisha Adam, the human being, suffered his klala, his einish, v'hada behema, and only then afterwards did the einish proceed to the next step of behema. So that's what the pasuk means. Achar v'kedem tzartani. Adam Rishon is saying, I am the most prominent member of this world. You've created me last. Explains Rav Moshe Feinstein. The symbolism in creating Adam Rishon last was that he is the point man, he is the purpose, he is the tachlis, the objective of the entire Brias Ha'olam. Therefore everything is there before, in order to serve him, to be available for him. Everything is there to aid and assist him in his quest for perfection, for doing Hashem's will of keeping Torah mitzvahs and connecting to Hashem. So that's why the Adam is created last. And at the same time, he also carries an immense responsibility and achrayus to the rest of the Bria, to the rest of creation. Therefore, when he does something wrong, he influences everything underneath him. He ruins everybody with him. It affects the sins of the human being, affects the whole entire world. And therefore, with regard to the Mabul, that began with the Adam, who was the first one to sin, and influenced all the other creatures, all the Behim and the Chaya. The whole world was downgraded as a result, was affected as a result of the sinning of the Adam. Therefore, when it came to the Puranas, to the Einish of the Mabul, who suffered first? It was Adam who suffered first, since he was the catalyst of the downfall, the spiritual deterioration of the entire world. However, with regard to the Eitz Hadas, over there it appears that the Nachash was really responsible for that incident, and therefore he received the Einish first. Since we know the Sfarim say that up until that point, Adam Rishon didn't really have the Yitzhar within him. So it wasn't really the Adam who was the catalyst for the Chet. It was rather the Yitzhar himself, the Nachash himself, who instigated the whole incident, who provoked Chava and then Adam to do the Chet. Therefore, in that case, the Nachash received the Einish first, since he was the one who brought it about. But eventually, after the Yitzhar entered the person, a person absorbed within him the evil inclination, and now when it came to the Mabul, the Adam was the one who provoked the whole downfall of this and the spiritual deterioration of the entire world. So he indeed was held foremost responsible for what took place and for what occurred during the Mabul era, and he suffered the Einish first, and subsequently everybody else followed. Continues the Gemara, Bishleim Elamandomer Partzuf. We understand, according to the Shita, that says that Hashem created a person, Adam Arishan, as a combined creature. It was a combined Du Partzuf in a double form. Now we understand Vayitzer b'shnei Yudim. We understand the Vayitzer Hashem Elokim Asa Adam with two Yuds because Adam was a dual figure. So that's why it has two Yuds. Hashem fashioned him and created him with a double tzura, with a double form. Elamad Omar Zanav, according to the Shita that says that when Hashem took the tzela, it wasn't the parts of, it was rather only the tail. My Vayitzer, how is he going to explain the pasuk of Vayitzer? Why does it have two Yudin? So once again, we had a machlekes regarding the pasuk of Vayiven Hashem Elokim Asa Tzela. Hashem took the tzela of Adam Rishon and fashioned with it Chava. So according to the Shita that tzela is the side of Adam Rishon which was actually Chava, and Hashem divided him into two, and with that created Chava. Now we go back to Vayitzer Hashem Elokim as Adam with two Yudim. We understand that it's referring to the double figure. However, according to the Shita that Hatzela merely means a tail, Adam Rishon wasn't a combined person of a Adam and Chava, but merely he had a tail from which Hashem fashioned Chava. If so, how is he going to explain the pasuk Vayitzer Hashem Elokim as Adam? Why does Vayitzer have two Yuds? Says the Gemara, simple, because of Shiran Pazi. The Shiran Pazi, it's coming to symbolize the proclamation of the person, which is Oili mi Yitzri, Oili mi Yitzri, woe from my maker and woe from my Yetzer Hara. I'm in the middle of this pitched battle, and I have this allegiance to Hashem on one hand, and on the other hand I have to deal with the Yetzer Hara, and that is the double Yud. Says the Gemara, Bishlomi l'mandoma parts of, we understand according to the Shita, that Tzela means it's parts of and Adam Rishon had a dual figure. Hainu d'chsiv zachar nekeva bar Hashem created Adam Rishon in a double form, a zachar and nekeva combined in one. Elam Adam Zanav, that merely had a tail. My zachar and nekeva baram. What does it mean Hashem created them as a zachar and nekeva? Says the Gemara, the Ravo asked the following contradiction. Ksiv zachar and nekeva baram. Hashem created Adam Rishon into a zachar and nekeva. Ksiv zachar and nekeva baram. Hashem created them a zachar and nekeva. Uksiv b'tzelem kim ba'asas Adam. Hashem created the person in the form of Hashem. So again, Ravo asked the following contradiction. It says in one pasuk, zachar or nekeva baram. Hashem created them, Adam and Chava, as a zachar and nekeva. So Hashem created them as two entities, zachar and nekeva. And then it says, kibetzelem elakim asas Adam. Hashem created Adam in the form of Hashem. So one pasuk says, relates to Adam and Chava as a plural. Hashem created them, meaning He created two entities, zachar and nekeva baram. And then it says He only created one entity, b'tzelem elakim asas Adam. Hashem created Adam in Hashem's form. So was it two or was it one? Says the Gemara, Ketzad, how are we going to explain it? Initially Hashem had in mind Livrois Beis to create them as two separate entities. But eventually the conclusion was Hashem only created one. So the initial plan was indeed to create two, to create a Zachar and a Keva as a separate entity. Hashem eventually combined them into one entity. And therefore Hashem created Adam Rishon with a Zanav, and from the Zanav He formed Chava. First, explain what's the point of Hashem creating Adam Rishon in one entity with Chava, taking a part of him and fashioning from it Chava. It is meant to create that feeling of one entity between the husband and the wife, between the man and the woman, being that they began as one. They began as really one single entity, one unit. So even if Hashem separated them and fashioned from them two separate units, the point is that they're meant to strive, to unite, to reunite, to use their unique natures, the unique nature of the Ish and the unique nature of the Isha, pull their resources together, work together in unison, and reunite back to that one unit as they were in the way back in the beginning. So the point of Hashem creating them together as one unit is to inject in them that feeling and that perspective that they're really one. Since they were really one at one point. So therefore, they will indeed seek to reunite with one another. So here it's not a matter of just working together as partners, as a partnership. Here the point is to reach the highest degree of shalom, of peace, to take from two entities, two individuals, and work together and bond and fuse together up to the point that they're really fusing together as one entity. And that is the purpose, that is the tachlis of creating the ish v'isha, so that they marry and they work together, and they work together to seek their connection to Hashem, to be davek to Hashem together. And that spiritual drive is the uniting factor between the Zachar and the Kever, and enables them to really combine together, fuse together, and bond as one. Now the question is asked, why did Hashem go through this process? The Gemara describes, B'tchila, initially there was a machshava, a plan to create two, and then Hashem created them together as one. What's the point of the machshava, the havamina, and then the conclusion? So the Farshim say that the machshava means, what is the true purpose? The true purpose, the true plan is really, they should really be two. Because if they're just one unit, then it's not a struggle. It's not an accomplishment if one unit remains one unit. The point is that they should be two separate units, two separate entities, two separate individuals, and they should strive to unite under the banner of service to Hashem. The ava she'ena tului b'davar, the love between the man and the woman, which is not tului b'davar, it's not based on materialism and physicality. The only true bonding between the husband and the wife, if the love is based, an ava she'ena tului b'davar, if it's based on a spiritual quest, a quest for spirituality, for ruchnius, that has the power to unite the husband and wife. So the point is that yes, they should be separate, and work and struggle and make an effort to go ahead and unite together as one in the service of Hashem. So that's the point of Olava Machshava Liber Shnayim. Hashem's plan was, yes, there should be two entities. But in order to facilitate that, so that those two entities will indeed eventually come together and unite, Hashem needed to first create them as one. They should experience that union at one point in history. Then it will make it easier for them. It will facilitate eventually that they should, even when they're separated, they should be able to enable them to go ahead and reunite together as one. They will feel that closeness, that natural bond and attraction towards each other. So that's the point of B'tchila. Hashem's initial plan, the objective was, yes, to create two. In order to do that, Hashem combined them and joined them as one, and then separated them and said, go ahead, unite, reunite together as one. The Farshim point out that this whole concept of bonding and fusing together husband and wife as one, this is only by the human being, by the Adam. By an animal, that's not so. Hashem didn't do this process regarding the behemoths. Hashem created them straight away as a zachar and a keva, since the point there is not to unite and to bond. It's merely a mating, a marriage of convenience. And it's not like they're joining together and committing to each other as in the case of a human being. Therefore, in that case, there was no point in creating them as one unit. Continues the Gemara. Bishlam the Omar parts of, we understand according to the Shita that there was a double parts of a double form, a double figure on Adam Rishon. We understand the pasuk that says that Hashem needs to fill the place where Hashem split them. Hashem needs to fill it with flesh, because He split Adam Rishon into two. Elaman the Omar Zanav, it was merely a tail which Hashem removed from Adam Rishon. Why did Hashem have to fill with flesh? The cut would just heal on its own. Omar of Yirmiyah v'Tamar of Zvid v'Tamar Nachman or Yitzchak. It was necessary. It was only necessary to fill the chatach, to fill the cut, as the Farshim explained, in order to avoid any lasting scar from this procedure. Therefore, Hashem filled it with flesh and smoothed it over so there wouldn't be any mark. Continues the Gemara, Bishleiman the Omar Zonav. We understand according to the Shita that says that there was a tail. Hainu Chsiv Vayiven. Hashem needs to take that Zonav, that tail, and fashion it into a complete person. El Ma'anoma parts of, according to the Shita, that it was a figure that Hashem merely split him into two. Maya Vayiven, what does it mean Vayiven? Hashem had to need to build Chava? She was already built. Hashem merely took this combined form and split it into two. Says Gemara, Vayiven here is coming to teach you something else. Look, Rav Shimon ben Menashe, the Dorash of Shimon ben Menashe, Mai Dichsiv, Vayiven Hashem asat Tzela, Hashem built the Tzela. Malamed comes to teach us, Shekola Kadosh Baruch Hu l'Chava, Hashem braided Chava's hair and made her attractive to Adam Rishon. Ve'via la'Adam Rishon. Shekein b'charchei hayam, in the cities and the sea, by the sea, Koirin le'Kalisa b'niyasa. They call braiding with the term b'niyasa. B'niyasa, so we see that this Vayiven is referring to braiding. Hashem braided her hair and made her attractive to Adam Rishon. Another explanation, Vayiven Amar of Chizda, V'amel Masisa Tana, V'let Nabraisa Malamed, Shebana HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'Chava kebinyan oitzer. Hashem built, fashioned Chava's womb like a storeroom, kebinyan oitzer. Ma oitzer zeh katzim alamala, just like a storeroom is narrow on top, v'rachel lamata, and wider on bottom. Why? To sustain the weight of the produce. Af isha, so to a woman, Ksara Milamala is narrow on top, Verchava Lamata, her womb is wide on bottom. Why? To be able to sustain and accept the fetus. So that is the meaning of Vayiven. Continues the Gemara, Vayeviel Adam, Hashem brought her to Adam Rishon. So he arranged the match, he arranged the wedding. Omar of Yirah Elazar Malamed, this comes to teach us, Shanasa Kadosh Baruch Hashem became Shushvin LaAdam Rishon. Hashem performed the role of a Shushvin, one who arranges the match, arranges the wedding arrangements. Mikal Lim the Torah Derech. Hashem teaches you. The Torah teaches you etiquette, the way of land. What is the proper practice? Sheyachzer Gadol. Even one who is a godly, prominent person, a great person, he should seek. Im Gadol b'Shushvin, he should seek to be a Shushvin to the Katan. He should seek to help in the arrangements of the matching and the shidduch and the marriage arrangements and the wedding arrangements. Sheyachzer Gadol im Katan b'Shushvinas. Val Yerele, he shouldn't feel troubled. He shouldn't feel like it's beneath his dignity. Even Hashem performed this role regarding Adam Rishon. Hashem arranged the shidduch, arranged the marriage. So we see it's not something below one's dignity. We see that arranging a shidduch is Hashem's business. It's taking part in the arranging the Brias HaOlam, the arrangements of the world, of creating families, creating generations. This is Hashem's business. When one also takes part in a fellow person's shidduch and matchmaking and wedding arrangements, he's actually doing more than just a chesed. He's being a shutav, he's being a partner in Hashem's business. Therefore, it's not below anybody to be involved in this type of activity. So, in summary, we have a machlokes regarding Adam Rishon. We have a shita that says Shnei Partzuf and Du Partzuf, and Hashem created him as a combined, a dual figure. On one side was Adam, on the other side was Chava. We have a shita that says no, Partzuf Echad. He was merely one face, one figure. How do they explain the following psukim? According to the shita that says Shnei Partzufim, how did they explain the pasuk of Achar v'Kedem Tzartani? Simple. Hashem created him in the back and the front. There were two figures, two forms. According to the shita that it was only one form, he says Achar v'Kedem Tzartani. It's coming to teach us that Adam Rishon was Achar l'Masa Bereshis. He was the last one created on Friday. He is Kedem l'Puranas, the first one to suffer Puranas by the Mabul. The pasuk says Vayitzer, Hashem created Adam Rishon, and Vayitzer has two yuds. According to the shita that there were two forms, simple. Vayitzer is Shnei Partzufin. According to the shita parts of Echad, the two yuds are referring to the exclamation that one says, Oili mi yitzri, woe for my maker, but oili mi yitzri, woe that I have to deal with my Yetzer Hara. How do they explain the pasuk Zachor Nekeva Bar'am? Hashem created him as Zachor Nekeva. According to the shita Shnei Partzufin, yes, there was a combined Zachor Nekeva there. According to the shita parts of Echad, Zachor Nekeva Bara'am is referring to the Olav Machshava. Initially Hashem intended to create them as two. What is the meaning of Vayiskar Basar Tachtana? Hashem filled it with flesh. According to the shita that Adam Rishon was Shnei Partzufim, simple. Hashem needed to split him and fill the gap with flesh. According to the shita that there was merely a tail, Hashem needed to fill the place of the incision of the cut with flesh. Finally, what does it mean Vayiven? Hashem built Chava, according to the Shita, that there were Shnei Partzufim. Hashem merely split Adam Rishon into two. So what Vayivan means, Hashem braided her hair. Or it means that Hashem built the womb, fashioned the womb, designed the womb of a woman in a manner which resembles a storeroom, in order to be able to sustain the fetus. According to the Shita, that Adam Rishon had a tail. From that Hashem fashioned Chava. Simple. Vayiven means Hashem built Chava from the Zanav of Adam Rishon. Continues the Gemara. Ulamand Amar Partzuf, according to the Shita that he was a dual figure, which one went first? In which direction did he walk? Amar Rachmar Yitzchak Mistaver, it's logical to say, the Gaver Sagi Beresha, that the man walked first. They walked in the direction of Adam. The Sanya, as it says in the Brachos, Adam Achar Isha B'derech. Person should not walk behind a woman, a woman who is an erva to him, for instance, an Eshes Ish, because it could provoke evil thoughts. Even behind one's own wife, it is not derech eretz, it's not proper etiquette to walk behind her. If he encounters a Isha like an Eshes Ish, by a crossing, by a gesher, by a bridge, let's tell them he should try to pull ahead and arrange that she is beside him and not in front of him, until he's able to finally pass her. Continues the Gemara, if one is accustomed to walking behind a woman when they're walking through a Nar river where she lifts her clothing, in that case, it is very dangerous. It can provoke evil thoughts and bring a person to do Avera in the Chelik al-Mahaba. He can end up losing his Chelik al-Mahaba because it can bring him to his nus, to Avera. Continues the Gemara, Tana Rabbanon, Hamaratza Mois L'Isha. If one counts coins, Miyada L'Yada, from his hand to hers, instead of just counting in his hands and then handing it to her at once, he slowly counts the coins one by one into her hands. Why is he doing that? To focus and concentrate on her figure. He's not merely gazing at her, which sometimes is inevitable, but he's focusing, concentrating on her facial features. In that case, says the Gemara, Afilu yesh b'yodei Torah masim tovim. Moshe Rabbeinu is filled with Torah and good deeds, like Moshe Rabbeinu is a big tzaddik. Nevertheless, lo yenaka midin shel Gehinnom, will not be spared from the judgment of Gehinnom on account of this evil practice. Shenemar yad liyad lo yenaka ra. Lo yenaka midin shel Gehinnom. Rashi explains, Yad is a reference to Moshe Rabbeinu, who received the Torah from Hashem's hand. Even one who is on such a great madrega, of such high stature, but he's not careful with provoking evil thoughts in his mind, he will not be spared from the din of Shel Gehinnom. We find Manoach was an Amaretz. The pasuk says Manoach walked behind his wife. So apparently he was not well versed with this halacha that a person is not meant to walk even behind his own wife. How are you going to explain the following pasuk? Elkanah also walked behind his wife. Elisha, who was a Navi, he walked behind a woman. Here too, you're going to explain Achareh means Achareh Mamish. Literally, they walked behind a woman. You can't say that. Ella must be that it's figurative. And they say that they walked behind the woman, it means figuratively they followed her word and advice. Regarding Manoach, it also means figuratively, he followed his wife's word and her advice. But certainly he didn't walk behind his wife. Amar Vashi, according to the initial thinking that Ma'aretz walked behind his wife, and thereby you applied the label of Ma'aretz to him. If that was the case, afilu beirav namilakar, even the psukim that are learned, that children learn by their Rebbe, he was also not well versed with those psukim. Shanamar, we find in the Torah that one is not meant to do so. Vatokam Rivka and her maidens got up and went. They rode on the camels. And they rode behind Eliezer, not in front of him. So apparently, in the Torah, we have this dictate that a woman is meant to walk behind a man and not in front of him. If one is faced with a choice, either he needs to walk behind a lion, which poses a physical danger, or the other choice is achari isha, behind a woman. One should choose walking behind the ari, and perhaps expose himself to physical danger, but spare yourself the spiritual danger that you may incur as a result of walking behind a woman. Achari ari v'lo achari isha. Achari isha v'lo achari avodah zarah. If you're faced with a choice, behind a woman or behind avodah zarah, in that case, go behind the isha, which poses a spiritual danger, but it is a lower level danger than walking behind avodah zarah, which is a higher level danger, which is an intellectual pitfall. Avodah zarah seems to be a greater sin, and therefore avoid that at all costs. Continues the Gemara, achayri akum. Nevertheless, prefer walking behind avodah zarah and not v'lo achayri beis hakneses. Walk behind the door of the shul b'shah she'atzivu mispalim, while the community and the congregation is engrossed in prayer and involved in tefillah. Walking by there and not entering, it appears that as if he's rejecting the tefillah, is rejecting the acceptance of Malchus Shamayim, and therefore that is worse than walking behind avodah zarah. Avodah zarah sometimes entails shituf, entails combining, worshipping something else with Hashem, like Christianity is a shituf. So it's not as bad. It's bad, but it's not as bad as outrightly rejecting the Beis HaKnesses, the Tefillah, and Hashem Yisbarach. Therefore, do that rather than ignore the tzibur in their Tefillah. Says in this concern, this prohibition on walking by the shul and not entering, walking by the Pesach, the opening, the doorway, and ignoring, is v'lo yamar. It's only a concern el v'lo yidar midi. If he's not carrying a load, if he's carrying a load less than, but it's not a concern, because it's obvious that there's a reason why he can't enter the shul. V'lo yamar, and it's only a concern that there's no other doorway. So it's obvious that he's not entering. But if the shul has another doorway, less than ba, there's no problem, because everybody will assume that he's going to be walking through the other entrance. V'lo yamar, it's only a concern el v'lo yirachav chamra. He's not riding on a donkey. But if he's on a donkey, there's no concern, because it's pretty obvious why he can't enter the shul. It's only a concern if he's not wearing tefillin. But if he is, there's no concern, because the tefillin are a display, exclamation of his acceptance of Malchus Shamayim, and therefore it doesn't appear like he's ignoring, like he's negating what the congregants are involved in. Amarav, Yetzirah doim el zvuv. Yetzirah is equated to a zvuv, to a fly, v'yoshev, and he's situated between both gateways of the heart. Shenemar zvuvei maves, flies of death, yavish, will spoil, you make smell, yabia shemen rekeach, will spoil this fragrant oil, and spoil to the point that it bubbles and gets full of foam. So we see that the zvuv, he ruins things, and it's referring to the Yetzirah here, who is ruining the person, who tries to provoke the person to aver. He looks like a kernel of wheat. In the doorway, chatas roiv, the Yetzirah chatas lies in wait to be marshal the person, to provoke the person to Avera. So the first explain that Shmuel perhaps holds like the shita that it's hadas, the Adam Rishon ate from, was a chita, was a wheat, a stalk of wheat, and therefore that was the catalyst for, that was the first Avera that brought the Yetzirah into the person. So it indeed is fitting that the Yetzirah is formed in the shape of a chita, of a kernel of wheat. There are two kidneys in a person. One advises him to do good, the other one gives him bad advice. It's logical to say that the one that advises him to do good is on his right side. The one that advises him to do bad, is to his left. The heart of a chacham, of a wise man, is liyaminai, is facing to the right, is listening to the to the device coming from the right side. Believe still, however, the heart of the fullest smiley is paying attention to the device that is coming from his left side, from his left kidney. What is the procedure of the person's activities? The kidneys, they offer advice. They offer the heart advice. Leiv Maven, the heart accepts the advice and analyzes it and decides how to proceed. And if he decides to speak, Loshan Machatech, the tongue forms the words that he's going to say with his mouth. Peh Goimer, the mouth, the lips actually pronounce the words. So it begins with the tongue, or begins the pronunciation, and concludes with the lips of the mouth. Veshat Machnes, the esophagus, the food pipe, takes in the food. The first take out the next word. It's Machnes kol minei machal, types of food. Kone, the windpipe, moitzi koil, and emits the sound, the reya, the lung, she'eves kol minei mashkan, absorbs the liquids. Kaved kayes, anger comes from the kaved, from the liver. Mora zarekas by tipo manichasai, the pancreas shoots, injects a drop of liquid. The manichasai calms down the liver. Tchayil seichek, the spleen brings about seichek, it brings about happiness and schaik and laughter. Karkavan toichen, the karkavan, which is a part of the digestive system in a bird, in a oif. Toichen, it grinds the food. Rashi says in an animal it's called hemoses. Keva, part of the stomach. Yishena, the stomach induces sleep. Af near, the nose, that induces, that awakens the person. Says the Gemara, if they switch their roles, near hayoshin, if the thing that's meant to induce sleep, the keva, the stomach, if that changes his role and is near and now induces, it causes a person to awaken, or the reverse, the yoshin anir, the nose, which is meant to awaken the person, it goes to sleep and takes over the other role. Nimak v'hoyach, a person withers away, can't function. Everything needs to function in its proper perspective and its proper arrangement. Says the Gemara, Tana, we learned in the Brachos, Shneim Yishenim, if both the stomach and the nose are sleeping, or Shneim No'irim, both awake, Miyad Meis, the person immediately dies. Tanya, basically the Omer, Tzadikim, person who is righteous, it's Yetzer Toiv Shoiftim, the Tzadikim are ruled strictly, exclusively by the Yetzer Toiv. We're speaking about a Tzadik who is through and through, he's permeated with goodness and with the love of Hashem. In that case, the Yetzer Hara was also transformed and channeled. Its energy and its desire and its drive was channeled towards love of Hashem. He's completely permeated with exclusively love to Hashem. In that case, Yetzer Toiv Sheiftan, he only has one dictator, one ruler, which is Yetzer Toiv. Shanam Avalibi Cholod Lekibi, my heart is hollow within me. There's no more evil inclination. He attached himself to the Yetzer Toiv. He joined forces, and I'm only driven to do good. However, the Rishaim Gmurim on the other side of the spectrum, they are just the opposite. Yetzer Ra Sheiftan, only the Yetzer Ra rules them and dictates their actions. Shenamar Nu'um Pesha L'Rasha B'Kereb Libi and Pacha L'Kim Neged Einov. So the Pesha tells the Rasha, don't pay attention to Hashem. Ein Pacha L'Kim Neged Einov. Don't worry about Hashem. Don't place Hashem in front of your eyes. Beinanim, those in the middle, those intermediate people, no, they're not tzaddikim gmurim, they're not rishayim gmurim. In that case, they have a tug of war. Zev is a shoiftan. Both inclinations are dictating, are ruling them. They're caught in between the battle, in between the struggle. Shenemar yamar li min evyayin lo yishir mishefte nafshay. Hashem stands on the right side of the evyayin of this pauper, to save him, mishefte nafshay, from the two rulers that are coming to rule him, coming to take him over, to conquer him. So both the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara are vying for control of the person. A person needs to daven to Hashem, needs Yachad the Shema, he needs Hashem to help him. And Hashem will stand on his right side and empower him, enable him to conquer and be victorious over the Yetzer Hara. A person needs to just do a little bit. Hashem will complete the rest. Amar Rabba Kigayin Ana Beinanim. For instance, like us, there's a Gersh Amar Rabba. For instance, for example, we are these Beinanim, these intermediate people. If you're a Beinani, lo yishavek ma'ye chay l'chol beria, You've not left life for anybody. Meaning, if you're a Benini, you're such a great tzaddik. Gemara says Rabba was like pasuk pumim girsa. His mouth never stopped for a moment learning Torah. The Malach HaMavis couldn't get near him to take his neshama away. So Abaye responded, how could you maintain that you're a Benini? If you're a Benini, then who's a tzaddik? Who's left to be a tzaddik? V'amarava le'ivri alma. The world wasn't created ella l'rishi gmuri, to complete Rishon, completely wicked people, entirely wicked people. Oile tzaddikim gmuri, to tzaddikim gmuri. The Gemara will explain. Amar Rabba leidi nish benafshe. This was in response to Abaye. You're challenging me. You're challenging my interpretation of my analysis, my self-analysis. No, leidi nish benafshe. A person knows his nature. Im tzaddik gomer or umlav. If he is indeed a tzaddik gomer or not, and I know that I'm a Beinani. Continues the Gemara, Amar Rav Ivri Alma El Acha Ben Imri L'Chanim Medaisa. The world was only created for either a tzaddik gomer like Rav Chanim Medaisa or like a Rasha gomer like Acha Ben Imri. Explains the Gemara. We have two worlds. We have Olam Hazeh with its pleasures, with its physical material experiences, and we have Olam Haba with its eternal pleasure, its eternal bliss. It says the Gemara, this world with its pleasures, La'acha Ben Imri, was created for the Rasha gomer, to provide him with pleasures, with this worldly pleasures, in order to give him his schar, so he doesn't get anything. L'olam haba. La'achav ben imri olam hazeh. Chanina ben Daisa olam haba. Chanina ben Daisa was a tzaddik gomer. He belongs in olam haba. The eternity, the schar, the hanav of eternity was created for Chanina ben Daisa. In this world, he didn't partake anything. The Gemara says he sufficed with a bit of charuv and a bit of carib from one Erev Shabbos to the next. He didn't partake in any this worldly Olam Hazeh pleasures. So the Mepharshim asks, but sometimes we find that tzaddik gomer also is given some pleasures in this world. Say the Mepharshim, that's not really his schar. His schar is Olam Haba. In this world, Hashem gives him a bonus. It's an added bonus. It doesn't detract from his eternal schar. It's an additive. But really, ideally, this Olam Hazeh's experience, Olam Hazeh's environment, is really tailored for the Rishayim Gemurim. They belong in this world, and they belong in taking the pleasures of this world. Then Mepharshim explain, how did Rava even think that he was a Beinani, not a tzaddik gomer? So Mepharshim explains, since although Rava was complete in Machshava Dibur Maisa, but in the pnimius, perhaps in the desire, in the quest, perhaps Rava felt that he wasn't completely 100% full of Avas Hashem, and therefore he questioned himself, and he considered himself to be merely a Beinani. Continues the Gemara, V'after Hashem Lekecha, Tanu B'lezoymer. The pasuk says, "Love Hashem b'chol levavcha, b'chol nafshecha, v'ol meidecha." So one is meant to even give up everything for the sake of Hashem. For instance, if he's challenged with the three cardinal averos of avodah zarah, gilurei shfichas damim, or if it's a shas hashmad, when the goyim are forcibly trying to convert Yidden, he's not to give up his life, give up his resources, to remain steadfast and unwavering in his commitment and his allegiance to Hashem. It says in Matanya B'lezoyim, why does the pasuk say love Hashem more than your nafshecha, your life, mo'idecha, more than your resources? Let the pasuk just say the most important thing, and we'll know everything from there. That love of Hashem is meant to be greater than your life. Why does the pasuk continue to say love Hashem more than your resources? If the nefesh is more important, then if you're going to give that up for Hashem, certainly your money. If the pasuk says give up your resources, apparently that's the most important thing. If so, why does the person have to say also your life? If you're going to give up the most important item, certainly the less important item. Ella, the answer is, it depends on the person. Everybody has a different perspective and a value system. If you have a person that his body, his life, is more precious than his resources, than his assets, in that case, that's why the Torah says, love of Hashem should be greater than your life. We're speaking of the person who the most important thing by him is his life. However, you have a person whose money is more important than his life. Could you imagine? So in that case, the pasuk says, love of Hashem should be greater than your most important and valuable asset, which is your money. So we're speaking about two different people. Either way, Hashem's love, the love for Hashem should be greater than the thing that's the most dear and important to you. Even if he's going to take away, Hashem is going to take away your life, you're meant to be willing to give up your life for the love of Hashem. Tana Rabbanon, we have a story regarding such a situation. Pamachas Gozro Machos Harisha, the wicked regime of Edom, of Rome, made a decree Shal Yaskar B'Yisrael B'Torah that the Yidden should not engage in Torah study. Ba Papas Ben Yehuda. So this individual, Papas Ben Yehuda, came and found a Matzah Rekiva. He found Rekiva Shei Makal Kilos V'Rabbim. He was assembling assemblages of Yidden in public and teaching them Torah, V'Isik with Torah. Amalei, so he told him, Akiva, you have to misyor Ibn Malchus, you're not afraid of the regime? Amalei, so Rekiva responded, Emshel Chamashal, I'll tell you a martial analogy. Lamar Hadavar Doimer. What this is equated to. L'shul, Lamar Hadavar Doimer, what is this analogous to? L'shul Shem Malchus Gavanor, a fox was taking a walk on the riverbank. V'ra dogam, he sees fish, and miskapsim, and makom, they were gathering from place to place, they were fleeing, they were jumping around. Amar Lemsu, the fox turns to them and says, what are you running away from? Amar Loi, simple, we're afraid of the nets of the fishermen. Amar Lemsu, the fox says, I have a simple solution. Perhaps you want to come up to the dry land and avoid the nets. We'll live together, just like our ancestors lived together in peace. So the fish responded to the fox, you are the one that is set on you, the wisest of the animals. You're no wise animal, you're a fool. How can you even suggest this? If in our place of life, we're in the source of life, we're in the mayim, which is our natural habitat from which we derive our life. Nevertheless, we are still gripped with fear on account of the fishermen. Certainly, if we leave our source of life, go out to the dry land, certainly we have what to fear from. If we leaving the waters is letting go, detaching ourselves from our source of life. So the fear of the nets is trivial compared to that. Says Akiva, in our case as well, us, now that we're sitting and immersed in Torah, it says regarding Torah, Torah is your life, and your longevity. So we still have fear from the Romans. Certainly, if we're going to let go of the Torah, which is our source of life, which is our lifeline, certainly we have what to be afraid of. So how can you suggest that we should abandon our Torah? Torah is our source of life. So the fear of the regime is trivial to the Torah, which is our life. To suggest that we detach ourselves from our life source is impossible. The pachat from the Romans doesn't match up, doesn't come close to that. Amru, they said, less than a few days passed, a very short time passed. Indeed, they apprehended Rekiva, and they imprisoned him in jail. Says in Papas Ben Yehuda. Papas Ben Yehuda as well was apprehended, and he was incarcerated next to Rekiva. Rekiva turned to him and says, Papas, what are you doing here? Why are you here? Rekiva. So Papas responded, fortunate you, Rabbi Kiva, you apprehended. Your crime was Divrei Torah. Woe to Papas was apprehended on account of meaningless things. At least you have the Torah. The reason for your incarceration was your Torah. So you have that schus. I was incarcerated for meaningless things. Continues the Gemara, when they took out Akiva to kill him, Zman Krishma, it was the time to read Krishma. The guy were scraping his flesh with metal combs. He was accepting on himself Malchus Shamayim. He was reading Krishma. How do you endure this? How can you do this? How can you endure this pain and recite Krishma? My whole life I envisioned this situation. I was troubled by this pasuk. B'chol nafshecha, love Hashem more than with your whole life, with your whole soul. I feel noitz nafshecha. Even though Hashem takes away, I feel noitz shmasecha. I anticipated this moment. I visualized this moment. I said, Amarti, Masai Yovel Yodvi Kamen. When will the time come that I can fulfill this mitzvah? And now finally it arrives. Now that it finally arrived, should I not fulfill it? The Gemara says he was prolonging by saying Hashem Echad. His soul departed with Echad. Say the Mefarshim, it departed by saying Echad with the tremendous dveikus. And united with Hashem, it came out. It was the neshama was attracted to Hashem like a magnet, and it reunited with Hashem, and that's how his neshama left his body. Be'echad, in unity with Hashem. Yotza Baskal va'amra, a heavenly voice called out, Ashrecha Rakiva, fortunate Rakiva sheyotza nishmasa be'echad, that your soul departed with Echad. Omram lacha Hashem nakadosh baruch hu. The Malachim told Hashem, Zu Torah Zu Schara, is this Torah and its reward? Mimsim Yotcha Hashem Mimsim. He should have died with your hands. You should have died through Hashem, not through the hands of people. Amalam Hashem responded, Chalkam B'chaim. This is their portion in the eternal world. Their chayil, their life is in eternity. This world is insignificant and meaningless. Yotza Baskal V'amra Ashrecha Rakiva, fortune Rakiva, Shata Mazuman. You are invited immediately to go L'chaim Haba, to go to Olam Haba. You need not go through the procedure of judgment and Gehenna. Continues the Gemara, Lo Yakal Adam. As Roisha connected Shar Mizrach, a person shouldn't behave with lightheadedness. Opposite the Shar Mizrach, the eastern gate in the Beis Hamikdash, Shu Mechuvan, because it's directly opposite connected Beis Hamikdash. Amru, this is only Eliminat Tzayfim Lifnim. There was a place called Tzayfim where the Beis Hamikdash was visible from that place. So only up until that place does this halacha of Yokel Roisha not acting with lightheadedness, does that halacha apply? Ubaraya, it must be that he's in a place where the Beis Hamikdash is indeed visible. He must be in an elevated place where there's direct vision to the Beis Hamikdash. Itmar Nami, we learned also from Abba Breidav, Chir Ba'Abba, Hacham Rav Yechon. Le'amru, this halacha only applies El Matzayfim Lefnim, up until the point of Tzayfim, meaning from Tzayfim until Yerushalayim. Uberaya, when he's in a place where he can see the Beis Hamikdash. Uber She'ein Geder, when there's no fence in between, blocking, when the Beis Hamikdash indeed exists. Continues the Gemara, Tana Rabbanim, we learned on a Brachos. Hanifne Yehuda, one who relieves himself of solid waste in the area of Yehuda, a portion of Eretz Yisrael called Yehuda. Now the Brachos here will discuss the halacha of when one relieves himself, how he's meant to position himself. He's meant to make sure that his exposure, the revealed portion of his body, is not facing in the direction of Yerushalayim, out of respect for Yerushalayim. Now we know that Eretz Yisrael had a section called Yehuda, which belonged to Shevet Yehuda. This was in the south portion of Eretz Yisrael. And there was a section called Galil, in the north, in the tzafon of Eretz Yisrael. Now in Chelek Yehuda, there was Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim was situated in the north portion of Chelek Yehuda. It explains the Brachos as follows. Hanifne be Yehuda, one who relieves himself in the Chelek Yehuda, le'yifne mizrach ha'ma'ariv. If he's standing to the right or left of Yerushalayim, in that case, his revealed portion shouldn't face east-west, because he'll be facing Yerushalayim. Ela tzafim v'darim, he should turn himself in a way that he's facing north-south, away from Yerushalayim. Ube Galil, if he is in Galil, which is to the north of Yerushalayim, in that case, he can't face north-south. He should face east-west, and not north-south. Rabbi Yossi Mater, Yossi said it's permitted, it's not a concern. Why? Because if he's out of sight of Yerushalayim, there's no prohibition. This prohibition is only if he can actually see Yerushalayim, if there's no fence in between, which obstructs the revealed portion of his body from Yerushalayim. It's only when the Beis Hamikdash was in existence. But otherwise it's permitted. The Chacham say no, it's prohibited, even if he can't actually see Yerushalayim. Says the Gemara, the Chachamim is the same as the Tanakama. It's a duplicate. Why does the Brachos present it as a different shita? They're both saying the same thing, that there's a prohibition even if you're out of sight of Yerushalayim. Says the Gemara, the difference between two shitas, between the Tanakama and the Chacham, is stadim. is areas that aren't directly opposite Yerushalayim. According to the Chachamim, only places which are directly opposite Yerushalayim, maybe standing to the right or to the left of Yerushalayim when he's in Yehuda, or directly underneath Yerushalayim, to the south of Yerushalayim. In those cases, he may not face Yerushalayim. If he's to the right or to the left of Yerushalayim, he must face north-south. If he's directly underneath Yerushalayim, he's to the south of Yerushalayim, then he must position himself east-west. In Golul, if he's directly opposite Yerushalayim, then he must face Mizrach HaMa'ariv to avoid Yerushalayim. According to the Tanna Kama, not only those areas, even areas that are at Stadim off to the side, aren't directly opposite Yerushalayim, even in those areas, these halachas apply. Continues the Gemara with another brayso. Tani Ida, Chanifna beYehuda, one who relieves himself in Yehuda, Le'yifna Mizrach HaMa'ariv, El Tzaf Medarim, away from Yerushalayim. U'beGolul, Tzaf Medarim Asur, Mizrach HaMa'ariv Mutar. Rabbi Yossi Mater, he says it's okay. Shoyer Beis Yomer le'Asur al Beroya, it's only if you can actually see Yerushalayim. Rabbi Yomer Bizman sheBeis HaMikdash Kayam, if the Beis HaMikdash is standing, then it's Asur, but if not, it's Mutar. Bizman she'ein Beis HaMikdash Kayam Mutar. Rabbi Kiva Oiseh B'chol Makom, everywhere it's Asur. Says the Rabbi Kiva, Hainu Tanna Kama. What is Rabbi Kiva coming to add on the Tanna Kama? Now there's a difference. Chutz La'aretz, outside Eretz Yisrael. According to Rabbi Kiva, even outside Eretz Yisrael, one must avoid facing Yerushalayim. Continues more with the story. Rabba, Havishadinle, Livni, Rabba would place his blocks that he would sit on when he relieved himself, Mizrach HaMa'ariv. It was headed from east to west, and one was on the north, one was on the south. So when he sits, he would position himself north-south, avoiding Yerushalayim. Ozal Abai went in there, Shadir Tzaf Medarim, he switched them around, that would be heading north-south, and would force Rabba to position himself facing Mizrach HaMa'ariv. He wanted to check to see if Rabba agrees with Rabbi Kiva that even outside Yisrael, this halacha applies. Oh, Rabba went in a Teritzinu, he rearranged it so that he can avoid Yerushalayim. Omar, he said, Man haidakam etzarli, who's annoying me? Anok Rabbi Kiva Srili, I concur with Shita Rabbi Kiva. Even outside Yisrael, one must avoid facing Yerushalayim. So in conclusion, we have 5 shitas according to the Tanna Kama. Even areas that are tzadim, these halachas will apply there. According to Chachamim, only areas which are directly facing Yerushalayim does this prohibition apply. According to Rekiva, even in Chutz La'aretz. According to Rabbi Yossi, only if you actually see Yerushalayim, and there's no fence, and it's in the time Bizman HaMikdash. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it needs to be Dafka Bizman HaMikdash, otherwise it is mutar.